Hey guys, it's me, Chris. I saw the post about ripping the PVC stuff with the Bosch table saw, and I was just going to share what I did. I have a Bosch table saw, and I've made a couple auxiliary fences for it. Let me move you closer here. I've made a couple auxiliary fences for it because it's, it's just helpful to have them. I use a couple of, for the first one here, which I use when I rabbit. I've used a couple of these Rockler clamps with it. And basically all you do, see it's got a cutout for, the rabbiting for the dado blade when I rabbit or, don't want to run into my good fence. All you do is line it up, and it's got a couple holes drilled in the top, and you put on the clamps like that. That holds it in place. And then you can slide your blade. This is just a regular blade, but you can slide it right over, right over the dado blade when you do rabbits. It's kind of hard to shoot videos without hand holding the phone, but that's the rabbiting fence. Mine's just a couple pieces of plywood, birch plywood that's smooth, glued and screwed together. And it's super simple to make. I think these are probably, a set of these is probably $25 maybe on Rockler. They're pretty handy for jigs and accessories and stuff. But this is just a couple pieces of wood. It's pretty simple to make. And, there's a lot of times an auxiliary fence is handy simply because you don't want to get too close to the regular blade. So that's that. The other one, this is my other one. And the Bosch fence, where it's square, really makes it easy to attach and build jigs, because all this one is, I built, basically built a channel. It fits over the fence, has a couple knobs to clamp it down to the fence, and there's a little indentation right here. That's just the way my fence is made, and that's what the little pin is for, because it sits down in that indentation and keeps the fence from moving forward while I'm doing an operation. I haven't had it on the saw for a while, so it may be, and it's a pretty snug fit, but you can kind of see that, let's see, let me get it lined up here. Haven't used it for a while. So when it clamps down to the fence, it's got a piece of track in it just for feather boards and stuff. I'll show you here, but that's a pretty handy thing to have, simply because, often, like, say you're making a raised panel on a table saw or something like that, you're trying to run, tall stock through the saw, and it can be, it just gives you that much more support. Keeps your hands away from the blade. So that's two of the auxiliary fences I've made, and this one, basically, it's just a channel that sits over the fence, and a couple knobs with T-nuts that clamp to the fence. It's the same, just birch plywood, not a lot to it, but it's come in pretty handy. Another jig I have that I've used before is I made a jig to cut tenons, and basically it sits down on the fence, and some of these some of these might be a little snug because I haven't used them for a while, and you know, things tightened up, but you want it to be snug. So when it's on the fence, you know, there's no play. You can push it, you know, you can push it through the blade, and basically it's made for, you know, taking like a rail or a stile, and you know, it's got a backer on it that's 90 degrees to the table, and you take your rail or your stile and you put it right here, and you can set the fence where you need to get a tenon width, you know, to get the width tenon you need, and you just push it through the saw, and it works pretty good. It's a little snug. I usually put some wax on it if I'm going to use it. But that's a couple illustrations of how it's pretty easy. This is a pretty easy fence to work with for jigs and accessories and stuff. So I hope this helps, and I hope it makes some sense. And I'm sorry about the lighting. The lighting's not really, you know, too good. But most of the jigs are pretty much just real simple in construction. You know, they just you can see the cuts where I've used this one, and this piece screws on the back side, so it's replaceable. I'll give you a shot of that. That's the back side of it. The little upright piece screws on. It's replaceable. So this is just kind of a quick video I made in response to that post about ripping the 12-foot PVC. That's a couple of the jigs I've made. I don't think I've got any more really useful. There's this one, and it's kind of an elaborate plan, so you'd have to Google it, but I'll show you. This is a thin strip kind of rip guide. It's got a big ball bearing on the front here, and I really didn't make it with enough adjustability. But instead of it provides you with a consistent point. Say you need to rip a bunch of thin strips. It provides you with a consistent point. Let me see. It provides you with a consistent point that's somewhat adjustable. You know, for different width stuff. But instead of, you know, ripping with your thin strip up against the fence, you can put your stock here and set this to the width of strip you want. And then you move your fence each time when you're making each strip. Say you're making a bunch of lattice for you know, lattice panel. You set this off your blade to the strip width you want. And I wish I'd have made mine more adjustable. And then say you get that set. So you take your 1x6 or whatever, and you feed it through. You butt the 1x6 up tight in between here. You feed it through, and as your stock gets narrower, you move the fence over to keep the edge of your stock tight to this roller bearing. You rip another strip. And then when that's done, you move it over and you rip another strip, and you move it over and you rip another strip, and another strip, and another strip, until you don't have enough to rip anymore. But that's kind of a jig. You can find these plans online. I made it. I forget where I found the plan. Rockler sells one. And you can even rip down to virtually nothing if you use a sacrificial fence, because, you know, as you move your stock over, you can get right on the blade pretty much. But I highly recommend sacrificial fences of any kind, simply because it allows you to work much closer to the stock fence without tearing your blade up or mangling the fence. So I hope this video helped. Sorry about the lighting. Sorry about the angle, but, you know, so hopefully this helps. Have a great day.